start this little talk on dependent origination. As I mentioned yesterday, today I am going to talk on Sankhara. As I mentioned, Sankhara is a very is a word that is difficult to translate into any language. But when we explain what Sankhara is, then we get some idea about Sankhara. Before I explain Sankhara, I want to explain Sankhata. Sankhata is one, Sankhara is another. Sankhata is that which is conditioned by something. And Sankhata has three characteristics. Buddha said in Samyutta Nikaya, Nidana Samyutta, there are three characteristics. That means, he said in Pali, Thinimani bhikkhave sankatada sankata lakkanani khatamani tini uppado panyayati vayo panyayati titasa anyatattang panyayati. Let me say in English, so I don't want to spend a lot of time in reciting Pali, because Sankata has three marks, three characteristics. What are that? What are they? Arising is visible, discernible, altering is discernible, and passing away is discernible. We say Uppada Thriti Bhanga, arising, existing, and passing away. And Buddha said, Sankata, that which is conditioned, has these three characteristics. That means that which is conditioned, we can see that arising, we can see that altering, and we can see that it is passing away. When these three are there, that particular thing is called Sankhata. Sankhata. I say, for instance, A is Sankhara, B is the product of Sankhara, therefore B is called Sankhata. Sankhara, Sankhata. Sankhara is conditioner, Sankhata is conditioned. Keep these two in mind always. Sankhata is easy to see and recognize because of these three characteristics, rising, altering, and passing away. So, Sankata, Sankhara is conditioner. Conditioner. What does it condition? Buddha said, Rupang rupatta sankatang abhisankaroti iti sankaro. The form is reconditioning to be a form. Form is reconditioned by something that is called sankhara. That which reconditions what is conditioned is sankhara. So the form is reconditioned to be a form. How it can be reconditioned? It can be reconditioned by the breath. That is called body conditioner. Kaya sankhara. Breath is called body conditioner. Now, in addition to breath, there are many other things that conditions this body. This body is conditioned by food, drinks, the temperature, rain, sun, and clothing. It is called sankhara. It simply means that which is reconditioning something. So we all of us put on our clothes, and then we appear something different. According to the way you wear, you appear differently. You put on makeup, and then you appear differently. When you come to a party, go to a party, you appear differently because you recondition your appearance. Appearance, body is something that you can see uh, and touch. And you condition this with various conditioning. I don't have to name them. All of when you go somewhere, you go to hairdresser and condition your hair, and condition your nails, condition your lips, condition your skin, condition your shoes, condition your appearance. All these are sankharas. That means the body is the conditioned which is already there, and that body is conditioned by many, many, many other things. And all those things that condition this body is called sankhara. Primarily, however, the main body conditioner is called inhaling and exhaling. Why inhaling and exhaling is called body conditioner, and how does it condition the body? Because when we breathe in and out, we bring in oxygen to this body. When we bring oxygen to this body is reconditioned. It is, it is wearing out, tearing out, its oxygen disappearing every moment, and therefore we have to recondition it by bringing more oxygen. So again and again, and the body is reconditioned by the breath. You have reconditioned cars, what you call tires, uh, some other articles. Similarly, the oxygen reconditions this body again and again and again. As it is reconditioning, it is changing, it alters. So that also is visible. According to the definition, that which has three characteristics, arising is visible. When we breathe in, oxygen coming in is at least discernible. We can understand. We don't see oxygen coming in, but we can understand the body get rejuvenate. Body feels energetic. Body feels alive. All these are happening every moment we breathe in. If you don't breathe in, then this doesn't happen. And while we are doing that, we also feel the changing, altering. And then breath disappears, we feel that something is missing. That means there is no enough oxygen in the body. So you can see arising of the body is discernible, altering is discernible, and passing the disappearance is discernible. This is caused by the breath that we breathe in and out. Not only rising and falling is discernible, but also we very in a subtle way understand that oxygen is coming in and oxygen is changing and oxygen is disappearing. And therefore, for very wonderful reasons, for calling breath body conditioner is 100% true. It's a wonderful thing. And that is the opening of the Sankara. Sankara is, friends, is a very big subject. That is the backpack of our samsara journey. The bigger the backpack, longer we go. That means more we have Sankara, longer we linger in samsara. So with this, let us start the rest of the practice this morning. with metta. After this, we will continue. Let us begin. Look at your screen and you see our daily metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. And with this wonderful, very noble thought, this is called the thought that makes us divine being. Buddha call it divinely life. We live a divine life when we practice metta. It is so great. With this metta thoughts, we must wish all those who are in pain and suffering because of this COVID-19. I noticed that there are more than 2 million people are affected. In the United States itself is more than 54,000 people are dead, and many thousands of people are dead in many countries. This is unwanted and this is unexpected, and we all use our mind and make our mind very strong. Mental power is very powerful, especially when the mind is clear and clean and pure. With this very wonderful, pure, clean intention, with metta in our mind, let us wish all of them to be free from this disease and clean the world of this virus. And may they all live in good health and return to their regular life. With this metta thought in mind, let us pay total attention to our breathing. As I mentioned earlier, as we breathe in, we experience the rising, and when we breathe out, we experience the falling of our abdomen, chest, and we feel that in our at the tip of our nose or nostrils. Noticing this rising, we breathe in. Noticing the falling, we breathe out. We don't have to deliberately stop to think rising and falling. It happens very naturally as we breathe in and out, and let the mind be there, noticing what is happening without using any words or concepts, As we do so, very purely and cleanly paying total mindful attention, then slowly and gradually our body becomes calm, relaxed and peaceful. The breath becomes calm, relaxed and peaceful. And then the mind becomes calm, relaxed and peaceful. Then our hindrances, greed, resentment, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry, and doubt fades away. Among them, doubt fades away because we see the results in our own practice. When we do the practice objectively, introspectively, without any prejudice against or for us, we see all this happening. That brings our builds up our confidence, and we see this. And all this, when all these hindrances are subsided, there arise a sense of generosity, letting go whatever disappears, let it go. Whatever disappears doesn't come back. When one breath goes away, it goes away. It never comes back. When one feeling goes away, it never comes back. When one perception goes away, it never comes back. So we let them go. That is the thought of generosity. And then next thought is loving friendliness. Our metta really begins to function, feels, and takes root in our mind. When the mind is clear and pure, metta grows even stronger. And then compassion arises out of that. And because we know that there are so many suffering beings, and we wish them to be free from that. From that wishing, compassion grows. And then we experience a degree of joy that leads to happiness, and then we gain concentration. This is the step that really takes place naturally, provided we meditate longer. In this short period, you may see the initial rudimentary state of all these things. With this, we continue our practice, and then at the end, I will continue my talk on dependent origination. Dukkha patta jani dukkha bhaya patta jani bhaya soka patta jani soka hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought, friends, we want to wish all those who are suffering from this virus and those who are helping them be stronger, have more confidence and energy to continue their very noble, selfless service to help these people, and others are supporting them and the sick people using their energy, time, wealth, skill, understanding, and their personal attending in various ways. Many millions of people are very wonderful. They come forward to help them in many ways. Some even have a concert organized to boost their pleasure, to arouse their joy, make them happy. And all these people are directly or indirectly involved, to help these people be also free from this disease, and may all of them live long in a very good health. With this wish, I want to continue the talk on where I stopped on the dependent origination, as it is very, very important and very profound subject. I go very slow, don't expect to finish it very quickly. Friends, I said the Sankhata is the conditioned, Sankhara is conditioner. Our body is conditioned, feelings are conditioned, perceptions are conditioned, volitional formations are conditioned, and consciousness is conditioned. And therefore Buddha said, the rupang rupata sankatang abhisankaroti sankara, form is reconditioned to remain as a form. Feeling is reconditioned to be the feeling. Perception is reconditioned to be a perception. Volitional formations are reconditioned to be volitional formations. Consciousness is reconditioned to be consciousness. This is the direct translation of the Pali words that Buddha used in Nidana Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya. Therefore, friends, we must understand how, I mentioned roughly how the conditioner conditioned the body. You can bring up many examples. Similarly, feelings are conditioned by the conditioner. We'll explain all these things in detail when we go through the steps of the dependent origination. This time we want to define the word sankhara and sankhata. Sankhara, I want to mention once again, 3 types of sankharas are mentioned in Chula Sutta and Nidana Samyutta and so on in various places. 3 kind of conditioners. Body conditioner, inhaling and exhaling is called body conditioner, as I mentioned earlier. Then word conditioner. Body conditioner is called Kaya Sankhara. Word conditioner is called Vachi Sankhara. Vachi Sankhara are called Vitakka Vichara. Vitakka means there are 3 types of vitakkas: Kama Vitakka, Vyapada Vitakka, Vihimsa Vitakka, or Nekkhamma Vitakka, Avyapada Vitakka, Avihingsa Vitakka in Pali. Vitakka is thought, and thought condition our words because we think first and then speak. We may see sometimes people say, oh, so and so speak without thinking. No, friends, nobody can speak without thinking. First, the person has to think of the word the person is going to express. I have to think of the word and then I express the word. The thinking of the word happens so quickly, habitually, since we have been doing it all alone, we even don't see how the thinking conditioned the word. And then Kama thinking of sensual pleasure. Kama is sense, sensual pleasure, or desire. When desire arises, I use a word to express that desire. So my word is conditioned by that desire, and therefore my words will have desire, and that is one condition. If I don't have a desire, it's called nekkhamma sankappa. Nekkhamma means in a regular, ordinary way of understanding nekkhamma. Nekkhamma means generally leaving home and going to a monastery. That's called nekkhamma. Nekkhamma sankappa. But nekkhamma simply means letting go of our desire. That can be in a, you have a desire to eat ice cream, for instance. You let go of it when you're meditating. This desire rises of eating ice cream, you let it go. That is nekkhamma sankappa, thought of letting go. And then you use that thought, that letting go in words. Then you talk about letting go of the desire for ice cream. So you develop that thought, letting go of thought, and you put it into words. Therefore, that is called that word conditioner. It conditions the word that I utter. The desire, not to have a desire or letting go of the desire for ice cream. I express it in word. Therefore, that is the word conditioner. I think of it first and then I express it. Similarly, Vyapada Sankappa. Vyapada Sankappa is thought of hate, resentment, anger, hate, whatever. All come under the same category, same name, with different shades and strength of meaning, different nuance. And therefore, thought of, if when anger arises, that that is the thought as anger. Anger is a thought. When it arises, then although we call it an emotion, and that is actually a thought of that influences the word that I utter. And therefore, that thought is word conditioner. When I have anger, as then I think of how to use the anger through words, then I utter a word. When anger arises, it can be an emotion, and then I want to express that emotion, I use a word, and then I utter angry word. Then, if I don't have anger, metta arises in my mind. as another emotion, another wonderful mental state, thought. When thought metta arises, I use the word, I utter that in words. May so and so be well, happy, and so on. I utter without anger. So, anger, the thought of love or friendliness arises in the mind, that conditions my word. Therefore, that is word conditioner. First we have to think and then utter words. Then the kama vitakka, vyapada, vihinsa vitakka. Vihinsa vitakka means thought of cruelty. Thought of cruelty. When the thought of cruelty arises, I utter cruel word to hurt somebody. And therefore, thought of cruelty is the thought of cruelty conditions my word, and then I utter that word. Therefore, that is called word conditioner. Similarly, when compassion arises in my mind, I use that compassion influences my word, conditions my word, and then I utter compassionate word. Therefore, non-cruelty is a thought that conditions my word, and then I utter friendly, what you call compassionate word. And therefore, there are 6 word conditioners. They are called vitakka. 3 unwholesome vitakkas, 3 wholesome vitakkas. And that is why we have to understand, I mentioned earlier, ignorance conditions our entire thing. Now, when I have understanding, when I have ignorance, I use unwholesome vitakkas to condition my words. When I have understanding, I use wholesome vitakkas to condition my words. Therefore, understanding against ignorance is mentioned in the Noble Eightfold Path, number 1. And that is why I say, to overcome ignorance, we have to have understanding. You can see how ignorance influences our thoughts and words. When we understand how understanding influences our thoughts and words. Very simple, and yet it is very, very profound. We have to see how it happens in our own daily life. So we can see vitakka, vichara, how vitakka, vichara conditions our word. Vichara, vitakka is the first initiating thought that condition our word. Vichara means we continue. For instance, when thought of greed arises, and we continually talk about greedy things, how to be greedy, how to accumulate, how to be stingy, how to collect all things and so forth. All sort of things we talk influenced by the greedy thought, and that's how it influences. That is because of our ignorance. When we have understanding, then we learn the danger of greed, and we cultivate the thought of generosity, compassion, and loving friendliness, and we continue to do that. That is called vichara. So, Buddha and especially Arahanta Bhikkhuni Dhammadinna, who was enlightened, fully enlightened Arahant Bhikkhuni, and that Venerable Nun also mentioned that vitakka, vichara are word conditioner. We first think and then we continue to repeat the same thing again and again through words. Therefore, they are called word conditioner. Now, the last is among these three: body conditioner, word conditioner, and then the mind conditioner. Mind conditioner is called Chitta Sankhara. Chitta Sankhara. Sankhara is conditioner. Chitta Sankhara. What are the Chitta Sankhara? Sanya and Vedana. Perceptions and feeling. When we perceive something, that perception conditions our mind. According to our perception, we uh, we have a mental state, and that sends the message to thinking, and that will utter in words. And that is why we say when we have anusaya, underlying tendencies, they have three stages. First, sleeping stage. That is called anusaya stage. Then waking up stage, pariyuttana stage. Uttana means getting up. Getting up. From the sleep, you get up. That is called uttana. Then, when the mind becomes active, this underlying tendency becomes active, then it goes to work. That's called kamma patha. So, this mind conditioner, when there is a perception, then that underlying, sleeping, dormant mental state gets up when we have perception. And when he gets up, then that comes to the mind, it becomes thought, then it turns into words or even action, the physical action. And then we commit the karma. It's called karma patha. So these are three stages: dormant stage, rising stage, and active stage. Putting into work. When we put it into work, that becomes a karma, karma patha, the path of karma. And that is why among all these sankharas, mental sankhara and verbal sankhara are more important than physical sankhara. For instance, no matter how long we breathe, how long the breath conditions the body, that doesn't turn into a karma. Even Buddhas have to have oxygen to live. They also breathe, and therefore their body doesn't do any unwholesome karma, even wholesome karma. But ordinary people does not commit karma just because of the breathing. That means breath is, although it is sankhara, that breath is not not falls into the karma category. But mental conditioner and verbal conditioner are the two conditioners that conditions the mind and word to commit karmas. When we come to that section, we will, because we have to discuss sankhara as karma, that we come to later on. But for this, at this stage, we must remember these three categories of sankharas. Once again, body conditioner, word conditioner, and mind conditioner. Body conditioner is inhaling and exhaling because it brings oxygen. Word conditioner is thoughts, wholesome and also unwholesome thoughts that previously we think and then speak, and therefore they are called word conditioner. And then mind conditioner, sanya and vedana, perception and feeling. Sometimes we feel certain things, and according to our feelings, this feeling may be very subtle, and according to that feeling, we express. Feeling, we will discuss this later on. Feeling also have 6 kind of feelings. Feeling arising through eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, body contact, and mind contact. And therefore they are called Chaku Sampasya Vedana, Sota Sampasya Vedana, Gana Sampasya Vedana, Jiva Sampasya Vedana, Mano Sampasya, Kaya Sampasya Vedana, Mano Sampasya Vedana. So feelings arise from these 6 senses. Therefore, there are primarily six kind of feelings. All this we discuss in due course. For now, I think this may be enough. I wish we had more time to talk, but I think we go a little slowly, little by little, and then we continue our talk. Once again, I want to um, wind it down, wishing friends. Now, honestly, with a very sincere heart, we practice metta, and without any ulterior motive, very wonderful intention to learn Dhamma. We listen to little Dhamma talk. From all these things, we cleansed our mind, purified our mind, and with this power, the strength, the what we wish with the pure, clean, healthy mind has a great power. And we all together as one human being wish all those who are in pain and suffering due to this virus and wish them to be free from them and liberate themselves from suffering and live long in very good health. And all those who, as I mentioned earlier, supporting them also be free from suffering and live long in good health. Also, at the same time, I must mention all the decision makers, maybe leaders in the world who have uh, who make decision for the whole nations, countries, have wisdom. May they have compassion. May they have love. May they have insight, understanding to make right decision, and all those who are helping scientists trying to find some kind of vaccine and any other method or pills or whatever. May they be successful. May they all come up with some kind of solution. We are so sorry for all this suffering being. Let them all be free from suffering and attain liberation. With this, friends, I want to conclude. Thank you very much for listening and participating in this very little valuable practice.